for being here. Obviously, we've got garbage to talk about, I'm sure, deservingly so. It's a good synonym for us in the office this week. So we'll talk about that proactively. I know there'll be questions about it, and all we'd ask is, for the sake of time, if it is something that we've covered or that we need to clarify, we're not saying don't ask us anything about it. Please do. But we're going to attempt. We know there'll be lots of. I haven't even looked at them yet, but I know there'll be lots of questions about it, and so we'll attempt to have our team kind of help you understand where things are and all that. Before we get into that, though, and get into introductions, this is your District 1 Town Hall, so I wanted to pass it off to Councilwoman Brahier.
Welcome. I appreciate all of you, and I know that this has been intense couple months, and we've all been kind of rolling on some different concerns, but I'm grateful everyone's here, and I hope that we answer the questions you're here to, that you have concern for. So, and just a reminder, you never have to wait for something like this to speak to me. So if you've got a concern and you've got issues, you guys know you can always call me. And I know that a great deal of you do, and I'm grateful for it because it keeps me on top of what's going on, and I like keeping in touch with all of you. So thanks for coming.
And I'll add to that before we get into it. Of course, we always try to plug the things that we do have with any issues, potholes or otherwise, that we do have 311. I'm not saying don't reach out to Councilwoman Brahier, but we also have direct lines as well that you can utilize, 311 being the main. And I always do point out, which I think has been certainly a big win for constituents as a whole. When I got here, we had 2,100 open tickets in 311, and now I believe we usually hover around 50. So we've cut the actual open tickets from the day I got here by 95%. Not saying that some things take longer than others. They don't get fixed right away, but you should be able to hear from us right away, or if it's something that can't be handled, et cetera. So we've certainly had a big process improvement from the constituent side of things. So if you want to save one more email, certainly you can reach out, and you can also file that online. You don't have to call on the phone 311. There's actually an online portal to do that as well. So again, housekeeping before we get started. If you haven't, I've got a stack here. If you have not filled out a speaker form already, that's the order of which we will go. And so if you do have a question, or if your neighbor comes in midstream and didn't hear that, just make sure you fill out a question just so we can try to respect the order for everybody. Okay, so let's get into sanitation. I had a press conference today at 10 o'clock. I'll reiterate, if you haven't watched it, I'll reiterate what we said there. So, at the end of the day, we had a messaging issue, and that was certainly not up to my standard. We've really tried to raise the standard of expectations for what people are used to hearing in the building about offensive messaging, meaning not just what's the minimum we can do and check a box and say, well, we sent a piece of mail in June. What are you talking about? We have a higher expectation than that. I have personally a higher expectation than that. So what you're not going to hear from us is, well, we sent a piece of mail in June that had the schedule on it, because it wasn't up to my standard and it wasn't offensively messaged enough. So we can't expect that just saying something at press conferences or just something in a piece of mail is going to get to folks. And listen, it's a challenge. It's not rationalizing. It's a challenge to message anything to 55,000 people. I can tell you, no matter what, every Rotary Club I go to, it feels like I've talked about it to death about any issue. And there's lots of folks that just don't know it. And heck, if we'd figured it out, trust me, all the media outlets would already know how to do it and hit a button and it would enter your brain. And so no excuse from us, but it's a difficult thing to do. And I can tell you, as I shared with the media today, we've eclipsed since July 14th about 300 hours of overtime. That's not usually something I'm bragging about, and I'm not in this case. But what I want you to understand is that is overtime of someone who didn't get the message that said my garbage hasn't been picked up, and we're not even discussing it. We're sending somebody out there to go get it, and that's not something we would be doing in a normal setting. But because we didn't live up to the standard that I expected, then that's the work that we're going to be doing. So we are not questioning folks or saying, well, wait as long as you can. We are getting out there. We missed one street. We missed Reynosa. because the crew got a new map and missed that road, we went out and picked it up this morning. We didn't say, well, we're going to wait till next week. So I'm not saying we've been perfect in that. I just want you to know I'm trying to illustrate the idea that we've spent 300 hours of overtime just on trying to service recover, to try to get back out to your place and pick up some of that stuff. We hit 5,200 cans today, 25% of the city. I'll let Daryl give an update on kind of where we are with recycling, where we are with our standard service, just so you know if we expect any more bumps in the road in the next day or two, or if we're out there. So let's do this. Just in case people can't see names, let's do introductions. We'll start with Shan's down at the left, and then we'll skip Daryl and then go to Amy, and then I'll just have Daryl give kind of a profile update of where we are.
Hi, good evening, everyone. I'm actually one of your neighbors and live over there off Bayou. I'm Kerry Shanning, and I'm the interim Parks and Rec Director.
Good evening, everyone. I'm Amy Miller. I'm the Deputy City Administrator.
Good evening. I'm Acting Chief of Police, Kristen Brown. This is my first town hall, and it's a pleasure to be here.
It's hard to follow that one up. Brock Jester, Deputy Fire Chief.
I'm Amy Tootle. I'm the Director of Public Works and Engineering.
And I'm Daryl Singleton, the Director of Pensacola Energy and Sanitation. And I'm sure you got tons of questions for me.
So just if you can kind of give an update of where we are on daily service, all of those things. I do want to mention that we didn't have this number this morning, so this wasn't on the news, but it's now, you guys will hear it first. So our first load of recyclables delivered to ECUA's MRF today was 4,000 pounds. And to give you perspective, if you guys have been using that Palafox drop-off, or you've heard about it even, a good day we'd be getting we've had it since we had to pause because of all the contamination. We would, on a great day, we might get 600 pounds or 700 pounds. So just for perspective, people are still signing up every day and all of that. It's still growing quickly, but just to give you kind of a barometer, 4,000 pounds of what we hope to be much cleaner than what we had started with 2 years ago, or where we were 2 years ago, hit the MRF today. So anyway, if you want to just give us kind of a scheduling update of where we are.
Yes, sir. And I was there at the MRF when they loaded very good. We only had very little contamination. We had a garden hose and a receiver hitch out of a truck. Other than that, everybody did an excellent job, and they were very thankful for our clean sanitation at ECUA. Where we are currently on garbage, we are up to date. Like the mayor said, today we picked up 5,355 cans. Recycling is up to speed. We have roughly 1,800 people currently signed up for recycling. Just for today, we picked up 3,780 pounds of recycling. So as we go on from last week, we're getting better and better every day. We would like to get to the point that we're taking 20,000 pounds a trip to the ECUA's recycling center instead of 4,000. So everybody's doing a good job. It's clean. It's below the 20% contamination. Currently, we are up to date on yard trash. That has been a rough road. When I took over yard trash in February, we were having record numbers. Everybody cleaning the yards after the snowfall, plenty of dead foliage. And at the same time, I had a number of people that did not want to work 40 hours a week. So we had some changes in personnel, which cut us way down. We sort of have overcome that now. We started off with, I was using employees from Pensacola Energy to fill in, to try to make sure we could get back on track. We've been able to hire some quality individuals to get us back on regular schedule for trash pickup. So currently I have all three programs running on schedule. What we're doing now, since we did the Tuesday pickup, I have my assistant director just travel around the city. I said, go around the city, look at cans. Who's got cans that they're so full that the top's open? And did they miss their day? So today we hit roughly around 200 cans we found that were full, tops open, but it wasn't their correct day. But we're still going to do that and make sure until people learn what day of the week is the right one for their section. We're still going to ride around and check cans. So if you see somebody out opening the lid on your garbage can, looking in it, we're just checking to see if they're full. Did the whole neighborhood put a can out? Is it just here or there? And we're going to ride around and get those cans and dump them so that we're proactive instead of reactive. We want to make sure we get those cans before you have to call us. But if you call us, please do. Please use 311 and call us, because sometimes I don't know if I'm dealing with a situation where I have new drivers now who are learning routes, and suddenly they miss this small strip of Reynosa, and I don't know about it until somebody tells me. Everything our trucks do, I can check. They're all GPSed. They all have cameras on them, so I can go back and pull the route and see, did they drive down this piece of road and hit these houses or not? Did they get the pickups done? If not, boom, I know instantly, as the mayor said, then I can send a truck back over there, go catch this road. I know you've been very patient. Like I said, I have new drivers, new routes, sort of a new thing with us, where we rerouted the city to the one-day a week pickup. We had to split it all up to just kind of get that even 5,000 and something per day. So that generated all new routes the guys are learning, but they're getting up to speed on it. We did training on Monday. When in doubt, drive down the road anyway. If it's not the right day, pick it up. You see a garbage can out there, it's an opportunity. So, maybe you're supposed to pick up by you, but you see some cans somewhere else, grab it. So that's where we're at right now.
And I just wanted to add, so for most of our district, we're a Monday, Thursday. Is Cordova Place also Monday, Thursday? Mr. Sproul, you guys are also Monday, Thursday, or were? Or you were so the whole district is a Monday, Thursday. So everyone, I believe, within the district is getting the Thursday pickup for
now.
Garbage now, Monday for recycling, just as a.
Right.
And then in all fairness, Daryl has a long history with the city, but not in sanitation. So he got sanitation when it was in trouble. All right, so when we had started seeing these. So he's taking this and he's taking it on, but he got it in a very, very troublesome spot. I just want to, all fairness towards our sanitation back there. It's new for you.
It's new.
Yes.
It's new,
So
but we're going to make it right.
just as a thought,
We
okay.
also went through this district today, and we had a number of streets that had garbage cans out, and we got them too.
Yes.
So even though it's
And
Thursday,
you're
we're
probably,
still going to pick them up.
you're probably going to hear tonight that there's a few that still haven't exactly been picked up. So we've got a few to go, but we are getting there a little bit better. But I just want to, in all fairness to you, that this is new for him to take on. So.
And I said the best thing to do is please let us know. 311s. I would tell you to call, but the problem with that, since January 1st, we have got 7,170 calls at sanitation. Chances are of you making it through when I only have 3 people answering the phone are slim to none. I have people calling, to set up accounts for recycling. I have people calling to get additional full-size garbage cans. People that want to know what day of the week, and it just kind of jams the lines to where I would recommend if you do a 311, we can get back up with you instead of you having to sit there on hold for 15 minutes, while we're going through multiple calls. So it's pretty much from the time they get there at 7, it's backed up in the queue till they leave at 4. So I would just recommend a 311 and then put it on us to contact you.
Yeah. And that advice is not temporary, not just in this kind of transition crazy time right now. That's a year from now. Same advice. 311. I wouldn't want to sit on the phone on hold if I had the choice of just filing something, and then now it's our obligation, balls back in our court to get back with you. So just that goes for anything and any topic. That's same as, again, potholes or an issue you see or a street sign down or any of those types of issues. 311's always just, save you time, and it kind of puts the burden back on us or our team to make sure that we're following up. So.
And 311's kind of been underutilized. Like I said, the difference, 7,170 phone calls. We had 874 311s. So I'd rather see it the other way around. If I had 7,000 311s and less phone calls, you could get through. If you had an emergency, needed us, and we could respond to your 311.
Daryl had the idea of turning the first 3 digits of the sanitation number to 311 and then 4 numbers after that, but I don't think AT&T would allow it.
And also, when you go to 311 online, you scan down and then it says sanitation and you pick sanitation. And once you do that, then you've got where you can fill in the issues. You cannot register there for your new recycling bin if you want one or another can, but you can put in complaints there.
The reason being, we just want to make sure that it's you, you actually call and speak to a customer service rep. They're going to verify, the last four of your social, make sure it's you. Someone else isn't just signing you up for additional costs without your knowledge.
And then last thing proactively that I want to mention, and again, not trying to jump in front of any questions that you have, but trying to mitigate them. Well, first of all, if you have, as Councilwoman Brahier said, if you have a can that hadn't been picked up, you don't even have to spend 3 minutes or 5 minutes if that's your issue. If you'll go see Dominique in the back and give us an address, we'll just, and you don't have to do it right now. You can do it on the way out. We'll handle that part. So just let us know if that's really is your only concern. The second thing is I want to address some confusion that, again, I think it's kind of the part and parcel with the messaging issues before is it is about glass. There's been some mixed messaging about glass because there's multiple parties involved, and let me explain. The messaging that you're getting from the Recycling Partnership and the City of Pensacola is the 4 core materials that you see. It should be the sticker that's on your recycling can. It's the postcards that you're going to be getting and will continue to be getting, those 4 things that glass is not included. Here's where the confusion lies. The confusion lies is that if you go to the ECUA's website, it includes being able to take glass. Now, remember, they serve the county, they serve everybody. So that's not our website and that's not our call. But here's what I want everybody to understand, and I think this is the triangulation of the confusion. There is no market for glass from a resale standpoint. So remember, circle back a couple years ago to why did we mess with this at all? It's because it was 50% contaminated because everybody was forced to recycle, whether they wanted to or not. So we had lots of truck hitches and we had lots of oil going into those cans because it was either wait on another trash day or throw it in the can. So the other thing was the imploding markets, especially overseas, for lots of these materials. Aluminum, man, it's steady. Aluminum, I know at one point was going for $1,900 a ton. So that has survived where there's a market for it. So ECUA or whatever MRF is taking recycling, what do they want to do? They want to take all that, turn around, sell it, and then that's what helps lower our cost, therefore your cost on these services. Again, the Recycling Partnership, which is where companies like Coca-Cola, Pepsi, or Buffalo Rock, all of them fund, and this is a national organization where if you have a Coke can in front of you and you see that little recycling logo, they're able to put that on there because they fund the Recycling Partnership, who does work just like this. So we're obviously going off some very, very expert data of what markets are out there, what we should be taking in recycling, and what has consistency. We don't want to go to you guys every 3 months and say, we're taking glass, now we're not, because there's no market. Or we're taking this and not. So we want to be as consistent. We just talked about how hard it is to message things. The last thing I want to do is have to come back every 6 months and change what we're taking. So it's not that we're against people recycling glass. I mean, it would be more convenient at my household if we could recycle glass. But the reality is, how it's written in our contract with ECUA is, hey, if glass ends up in there, it's not going to be as bad as motor oil, but there's zero value given to it from a contamination place one way or the other. So our position at the city, and when you leave here, we're not going to have a postcard that has that big diatribe on it. What you're going to see is we are accepting those 4 items. We're going to ask ECUA to mitigate this confusion by saying, well, if you aren't giving us any value for it and you don't have a market for it, why is it listed on your website as something you'll take at the city or the county? So I'm going to ask ECUA and lean on them to help clarify this, because I think that's where it's coming from. So the presumption should be that you should be only focused on those core 4 materials, because those are the ones that are going to stand the test of time. So it would be easy for me to say, hey, you know what, you can put glass in there and it won't hurt us, but it won't bring any value. That will only cause explosion of confusion. And what if that market craters and then they want to say it is going to be contamination? So we're just going to be safer about that and consistent about our messaging and say the 4 things on your can and the 4 things that you're going to continue to be messaged about in the months to come is what we're going to stick to. So I just wanted to give a little background to that glass issue and why it's a little more complex And sometimes we don't really have the forum of which to kind of explain that fully. So we are not accepting glass, not because we don't want to. That is the circumstance around glass. And so we're going to just stick to those 4 things that we're communicating. So that's it. I'll hop to questions again. A reminder for anybody who walked in that if they have a question, see Dominique in the back and fill out one of these. Okay, so we'll start with the top. Paulette, is it Drasutis? Drasutis? You want me to bring a mic to you?
I am Paulette Drasutis, and I live at 3810 Lenora in Scenic Heights, and I have had the joy of living there for 45 years. And for me, I'm 82, and it was a shock to me because of circumstances, I am forced to wear diapers. Because of hygiene, I use a lot of diapers. And because my neighborhood is so respectful of each other, I have the best neighbors in the world, and I feel like I have to now gift wrap any of my trash because I place all my diapers in bags and then I put them in a black bag, and unfortunately, it takes over a quarter of my garbage can. And so since I'm not able to shop anymore, I rely on Amazon, and I get all these boxes, and then I have to break them down and put them in there. Well, then that leaves very little room for my trash, and it was just spewing out, and we were trying to organize it so neatly into our garbage can so we could get all that stuff in, and I don't know why, but my daughter and I obviously are the nastiest people in the world because we generate a lot of garbage. And so it was just overflowing, but I feel like I have to, like I say, gift wrap all my trash to go in there because I don't want to defend any of my neighbors. Also, I live on a fixed income, and someone said, well, you can get another garbage can for $8. Well, gas went up only a few dollars, and if you add all of the little bits going up, it makes a little bit more, it puts a strain. It really does, and I've already hit my budget limit many times. I've cut out so many things, but I found other things that were comparable that made my life good. But all I want to say is, first of all, I've been very pleased with the trash pickup that I have received in the past, and the workers are just the finest people you could meet. They're kind, they're helpful, they've helped me many times, they're very courteous in helping me get certain things, and I just want to thank you for that. I love our sanitation department, but I was really, I guess I was overwhelmed. I guess that's all I have to really say. It's just, it has put a huge inconvenience to me, and otherwise I'm very happy with everything in this beautiful company. And God forbid you have company. Everybody knows that we live in paradise, and they all come to visit you. And now I feel like I ought to say, as you go, would you please take your trash? Take it to your state. Take it wherever you have it. But again, thank you for allowing me to speak.
Yeah, thank you. So I do want to talk about a couple things, and I think we've had so many iterations that what I can tell you is whether they've gone well for you or you feel like they haven't gone well for you, everything that has taken us from where our garbage service was 2.5 years ago to today only has the best of intentions, which is when we tell you it's going to be recycled, that it's going to be recycled, and to help mitigate costs. Now, one thing that we all feel that we all can't believe what the new price is. I get an email a week about some service I pay for that's going up. No one absolutely is immune to that. But I do always want to point out as well is I think there's an assumption that the city government is somehow immune to that. To get people to drive and come pick up that is so much more expensive by an hourly wage to be able to find people to do that compared to 4 or 5 years ago. So that's not us saying woe is me. I just want to point out there is not one aspect of the operation that we do for a citizen, whether it's cut the grass at the park, pick up the trash in the park, pick up your trash, that is not more expensive than it was. And so it's kind of adding insult to injury, right? It's this idea that, but I think we forget that sometimes. We think of the big city government as, hey, all our costs are controlled. Every year, our entire salary base of 850 employees goes up 3%, give or take. So, and that's recurring. When I got here, we were paying the 20th percentile. 4 out of 5 cities were paying our people better than we were. And what was happening was we couldn't fill sanitation workers. We couldn't find landscapers. We couldn't find, because you could make more at the fast food restaurant than you could make doing those jobs. So we had to really have, kind of grown-up conversations in the building to say, if we're going to be competitive, we've gotten it after this year to 50th percentile. That was about a $4.4 million lift, recurring, not one time. 4.4, 4.4, 4.4 across the board, and only going up with inflation. So again, I hate it because I think we all feel it in some different way. But there is not, whether it's building a bathroom or building or sanitation, any of those situations, there's nothing that we do as a city that doesn't cost more money than it did last year or the year before. So not asking anybody to sympathize with us, but that is definitely a reality. And as it pertains to sanitation, I do want to be clear in something also, that to kind of reset on a pricing standpoint. If we did nothing, if we never touched it, we just left mandatory recycling. And so remember, for generations, we've had 1 day a week pick up garbage. And then since 2014, we've had 1 day a week recycling. Okay. Now, clearly, 50% of the recycling was contaminated. So we kind of were at 1.5 cans of garbage and maybe half of a can of recycling. But the increase is already scheduled and continue to be scheduled. Starting October 1st of this year, and this is with recurring increases, starting of October 1st, we were going to be at right around high $31 or mid 31, somewhere in there, $31 and change is where we are due to be on October 1st. If we did nothing, just left it, I get allergic to trash. I don't touch it. I don't touch policy. Don't change anything. That's where we're going to be for one mandatory can and one garbage can, one recycling can. Where we are today is $32.99 if you want either choice, your choice. You could have 2 black cans if you don't care about recycling, or you can have the same thing. So it doesn't mean that going up $1 and $2 matters to people. There's no doubt about it. But I think what's getting lost in this is there's lots of conversation around, well, our bill's only going down $2. No, our scheduled increases set prior to me being here, we are due to be at $31 right now. And so, again, not asking anybody to feel bad for us. I just think there's a lot of misinformation about, well, now our costs are going up. We are within $2. We're in a program that actually will be taking your recycling to help our planet and help our environment. And so that, again, so think about that. And you now, which you didn't before, when I got here, if you wanted a second black can, so remember, it was 1 day a week, and I appreciate all the emails of people saying, man, there's going to be bugs around the trash. And I was like, man, I wish I tried to give a good placeholder when we went away from recycling. And I don't think I got one email of it from anybody that said, man, 2 day a week recycling's great. But as I learned in my job, now we go back to 1 day a week, and man, I have not heard the end of how amazing 2 day a week recycling was. And by the way, that's not how we measured it. We polled it. We polled it twice in 2024, 2025. Professional polling organizations asked what you wanted. And the national data also shows it's about 10 to 15% that have enough trash volume to want it. So when I got here, if you wanted a second black can, you paid for a second account, which is crazy. I mean, think about if you paid $27, that you would pay $27 again just to have a second black can. So we have fixed that and said, well, now it's $8 for a second black can. It's $8 for a recycling can, or you can do both if you want to. So I just want to make sure what we're talking about, and I think gets lost in the shuffle, partly we're responsible for, is that we are within $2 of exactly where we were, except we actually have a functioning recycling. And so I just want to kind of state that fact as well.
I'm seeing some confused faces with what he was saying, so I want to go ahead and clarify here. So if you do recall, in 2014, until the recycling was stopped this year before last, we had 1 black can, one brown can. Each got picked up once a week. So that's the point of that. What he's talking about was there was a rate study in 2019. And in all honesty here, sanitation was in the hole. Okay? We didn't have and to this day, There is no reserve in sanitation because we have been trying to scrape out of a hole that came before me, before the mayor for sure, but I was involved in the voting on the rate study. So I want to be clear here. So what happened was they came in and said that if we went up roughly $1.20 a year, per year, for a set number of years, that would then climb us out of the mess that had been left of sanitation. So that is why he's saying that if we were at that rate study now, then this would only be $1 or so different than where we should be according to that. Yeah, just for clarity.
And I want to clarify too, because I got a question from the council executive saying, because what I had said was, but until we got our you-know-what in gear, I had paused those increases. I paused those increases, but what I'm saying is there was some perception, which I hope is not reality, there was some perception that I'm blaming something on the council or that I was saying they're raising it and I'm not. I just come from the customer service world to say if we're changing stuff, that it's kind of hard for me to say, oh, and by the way, your bill's going up while we fix recycling. So then what's happened is, so we've stayed at a lower rate than we should already have been at. And that was to try to be out of respect for the transition. So now when people are saying, well, the bill's only going down by $2, well, the bill's perceived to only be going down by $2. It's the punishment of saying, well, I'm trying to help not increase costs while we weren't delivering the service that we had provided. So I just want to, there's no knock on the council for that or whatever vote took place and to put those increases in. I'm sure there was data to support it. I just want to make sure that there's the reality of this perceived, oh, my bill is only going down $2. Well, yeah, that's off it should already have been higher than that. So it's kind of, I mean, it wouldn't have, I don't believe it would have been better for our citizen for us to continue to do the full rate increases while we were in transition and not providing the service that we had said we were going to provide. So, but that is of no knock to the council or any council initiative. All right, Sharon Dickens.
Hi. So I've been here for 41 years. Prior to the recycling, when we did trash pickup 2 times a week for a long time. And if I heard you right, you said that when we were doing the recycling, that half the time the recycle cans were contaminated, meaning probably the trash cans were full and they needed to overflow into that. So to me, putting it back to once a week doesn't even make sense. And did I miss the conversation about having the trash go to once a week pickup? Was that out that I missed? The discussion for the customers?
Tonight or over the last several months?
Oh, no, before you changed it.
Yes, yeah. I mean, we've been talking about that since last year. And so it was a 2-step process. The first thing we looked at was, so remember, there's 2 lines of service.
But I didn't get a message or like
Okay.
an alert. I get the stuff all the time from your city. It didn't say, we're discussing taking the trash to once a week.
Mm-hmm.
Sharon, you would have had to have paid attention to honestly what was put on the agenda. Probably to have seen that or to literally watch everything.
Yeah.
To have picked up on that because there were a number of different things that went out. There was a Haas study that looked at, I believe 1,200 people responded to something like that, maybe 1,200, 1,400, 1,200 that discussed this, and it was in the newspaper. It has, I know. Well, I'm still one of those people who reads the newspaper.
But I
so
get
I'm
the,
just
I
saying,
do get the email from the
I
city.
agree, and I agree that it should have been in the updates for those who ask for it. I think that
Every customer here should have known.
there's no doubt that this
No,
was
it's-
extremely poorly done.
Yes.
There is no hiding from that.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
There's no pretending about that. You can't have 80 or 90% of the garbage cans out on the wrong day, including mine. Okay?
Yeah.
Who was at those meetings and still didn't catch on somehow. I don't know. I mean, which may want you guys to rethink your vote, just saying. Okay, but to that, It was very, I'm very disappointed in how it went down for all of us. And so there is no walking away from that. There's no pretending it didn't happen. There's no, I mean, has there been a conversation? Yes, there has. Was there a study that went out? Yes, there was.
Who participated in this study?
Whoever
The City of
wanted
Pensacola?
to. We've got,
Yeah. Yeah, UWF put a HOS Center, we do a HOS Center survey. We
I
had specific-
did that calling UWF.
So I think we're congealing two things, in my opinion. The conversation, listen, I can never go to a citizen and say, I came and knocked on your door and told you this exact thing. So I can't guarantee anybody to hear any particular thing. But we're congealing two things. We certainly own the abruptness of lack of messaging about which day you've had garbage. If I had to go back and count every press conference, every clipping, every TV spot where we've said what we were going to do, I would say in that realm, yes, we had been messaging that for months.
That we were going to only have 1 day a week pickup?
1 day a week pickup and recycling. That we were going back to.
How many customers are doing recycling? How many people signed up for recycling? Out of our,
We're getting more and more every day. What is it? 1,800.
okay, is that 10%?
out of 20,700.
And it's
So
been going on for 9 days. Yeah. So yeah. So I mean, there's no recycling start or restart in American history that it ever has had a full enrollment the day it started. This is going to be a process. What we can tell you is we polled it twice with UWF. We asked the same question twice, where we said, "Hey, are you?" Actually, the first question in 2024 is, would you be willing to pay $8 to $10 more a month to recycle? Now, we always know that someone saying something in a poll and then actually paying it are two different things. But just so for data's
But
sake.
you asked if we didn't want to have 2 times a week trash?
So I'm getting to that. Yeah, I'm getting to
Per
that.
se.
I'm getting to that. Yeah. So 50-50 was what we answered in 2020, late 23. Then the last one we did, we asked very specifically. We said, would you rather have 1 and 1? Would you rather have 2 cans and none? Would you? We gave 4 scenarios. And when you combine the scenario, the folks that voted for 2-week pickup, when you combine, so there's 2 scenarios that had you want garbage twice a week plus something. It was about 13% of the city. So
Would have been me.
yeah.
'Cause
And
I answered those surveys.
so and I get that. I mean, and so but I want to make sure that what we're talking about here is we have been communicating that we were going to. The only reason we've gone back to 2 times a week pickup was as a placeholder, because the last thing we wanted to do was
Okay, I have
go
another question.
just once a week garbage, have no recycling, and then
I hear you.
circle back.
So how much is the city saving if only 10 or 25% are doing recycling? How much is the city saving for not doing twice a week pickup?
Well,
Because we're
That-
getting $1.30 off our bill.
right,
$1.30.
right.
Not
Well,
$1.30 is what they
okay.
told me.
Right. Well, they don't have it right, I don't believe, because, okay.
It is.
Okay, so what I'm telling you is,
Those are out.
there's 2 different ways that get defined. Trust me, I've gotten all these emails.
Well,
Some people,
okay.
that we always speak in base rate terms, not because it isn't higher than that, but because that's how it's voted in the ordinance. That's the standardization. So when someone says, well, I paid more than that, they might be calculating it differently, and we were just talking about it
So
differently.
do you have something for a program for senior citizens that are on a fixed income? Is that something you're going to think about?
Yeah, so are we going, do you want me to answer the first, what are we saving?
Yes.
We are trying to make sure that we have a sustainable sanitation department. If we wanted to go to, all the emails I've gotten that said, well, why don't we do twice a week and do recycling?
Which we did.
we-
We did. I think, didn't we ever do that?
Not that I'm ever
No,
aware
okay,
of.
all right.
And you know why, and why we
Because
didn't.
we went back to twice a week trash.
Why we didn't do that was because it would be multi-millions of dollars of capital. Because remember, you got to circle 3 times around the city. You'd have 3
Yes,
cans at
that's
every address,
That's
right?
right.
Or 2 cans at every
cans.
address twice a week. So you'd have cans constantly on the street. And
I'm just wondering the dollar amount,
Okay, well,
if you have that.
even if we had the up to the hour dollar amount, it will change tomorrow when 20 more people sign up and change tomorrow. So that's an unanswerable question. But but what I'm telling you is we investigated a third party coming in from Santa Rosa County to say, you know what, we're not going to buy $3 million of trucks to have a third line, because the bill we would have had to bring you to have twice a week garbage pickup and recycling, I wouldn't even have allowed it to leave the building. It would have been, I don't even know what it would have been, $50 a month, something like that. So we weren't going to do that. But we did look into third partying out, I think with Adams Sanitation. We did an RFP. They won a bid. We negotiated with them. And what we realized very quickly was it was going to be $12, $14, $15 a month by the time we did it. And so we just had to make the decision to go one and
That's really not what
one.
I'm asking. But so is there going to be something for senior citizens on a fixed income? Is there going to be something that will help? Or people that have more than one or two people in the family, and they have a big family that has trash?
Unless Amy or Daryl want to chime in on a program that we have, we don't necessarily have
Well,
any
it's a
plan
thought.
for that.
Maybe you might want to put that in your thought. And I will go on to say, I did not use 311 because prior to it, I had used 311 years ago and never got any results. So I have called the trash. My trash, I have an ADA can, has not been picked up for 2 weeks. And I've called on Thursday afternoon when it wasn't picked up, and I called on Friday, I called on Monday, and I called on Tuesday. And I spoke to very nice people. They're very, very responsive. But they send the message out to the supervisors or whoever, and I don't have my trash can picked up yet.
So if you'll leave your address with Dominique, then we'll get that taken care of. So, thank you.
But I'm just saying.
Hibiscus.
Is it Nancy Humphrey?
Come on down.
Well, I'm not asking about the trash, so I understand that. Can you hear me now?
Yeah, I got that.
All right. Sorry about that. My question is about downtown parking, as you know. I love downtown. I love it, but I hate going downtown. And now every single spot and every private parking lot is paid.
That's not true, but go ahead.
Okay.
Yeah, we got that about
Well, I've learned
almost
to
1,000.
avoid the red Premier parking.
Yeah, good idea. All right, we agree on that.
After a huge mistake.
Oh my God. Seafood Festival, don't do it, y'all. But now we have the green Park Mobile. Did that replace, is that still
No.
for the city?
No.
Okay.
So I'm sorry. There's two different things happening.
Okay.
So let me just real quick. Sorry, I don't mean to cut you off, but
No, that's
I want to address quickly the private lot aspect because that is important.
Okay.
We talk about polls. We did a poll on parking before we made any changes. 5,000 people, so very reliable data. We asked the question: does the city run the blue spaces or the red spaces? 31% of our citizens, county, Santa Rosa, whoever filled it out, it wasn't just limited to city residents, 31% said red, which is we don't know. So I get the question all the time, why do you let them do that? And I don't engage on Facebook or anything, I try not to. But the point I would make if I was is that would be like me going to your driveway right now and saying, hey, you're not allowed to park 2 cars there. I mean, that type of thing. It's private property. I can't tell
Right.
them.
Yeah,
what
I
they
understand
can.
that.
So
Yeah.
I just want to make that clarification. I know
Right.
you weren't. I just mean, since we're talking about private parking, it is the bane of my existence because they make tickets that make it look like they're coming from us.
Right.
And they charge $5 an hour or $20 an hour during a parade. Ours is $1 an hour, 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. There's no flex up during a Mardi Gras, nothing. If it's a blue, so blue signs. The green signs you're seeing, they use the same app we do, but the only thing you can count on is a blue sign.
That's the
light
city.
blue, that is the city.
Okay.
If it's any other color, yellow, green, red, brown, anything, then I would not count on that that's a city space.
Okay, because this new green Park Mobile,
Yes.
we parked in the parking lot across from what used to be the News Journal for gallery night. 3 hour minimum, that's all you could do.
Right.
And it was almost $18.
Right.
I'm like,
Well,
you know,
in
I
my
want to go
perfect
downtown and
world,
spend
those
my
wouldn't
money,
exist.
but gee.
I can't tell. Listen, again, I mean, I catch enough grief about city parking. And
Yeah.
then I've got people charging $5 and $6, $20. All you need to know is the red lots. Look at the bottom of the ticket. It says they may name their company Municipal Parking. Do you think that that's a coincidence, or do you think they want y'all to email me and say, I can't believe you gave me a ticket? I mean, it is a predatory practice as far as I'm concerned. And again, we are $1 an hour all the time. We have hundreds of free spaces. You can go on Park Pensacola right now. You can go
Okay.
section by section, space by space. Spring Street's all free. Comandancia lot's all free. So there are hundreds and hundreds of totally free spaces, 24 hours a day, and free on Sundays everywhere. Also, handicap placards. This is another thing that we've been saying a lot, but we're trying to really hammer home. You do not have, if you have a valid handicap placard, and you, your friends, you can park in any city space. Does not need to be a handicap space for free, 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. So you do not need to circle around and say there's only one handicap space. You park anywhere you want in our city, anytime you want, if you have a handicap placard.
No,
In
no,
blue,
I know
city
the
space,
difference.
city spaces.
Yeah.
Don't ever park in red. Just, I should, yeah. In the blue spaces, you can park anywhere you'd like
Yeah.
in the city for free if you have a valid. Make sure we can see it, but you got to have a valid handicap placard.
So I guess the moral of that story is to go to the business where the private lot is and ask them what the hell they're doing.
It's the truth.
Um,
And it is the truth.
Because
And
it will
let me
cost
also-
you a $150 fee to get a boot off your tire.
Yeah, well, okay, also Nancy, if I may, is, DIB, which I was on, we initiated and started the Saturday trolleys. And then the city itself came along and started doing the Friday night, Saturday night trolleys. And this past week, we voted to extend that, potentially up some days, looking at data at how it goes forward. But on those nights, remember, those trolleys are free. And so it goes up and down Palafox, and so you could park out a little bit, hop a trolley, and come in, just as a.
Okay.
So there's a move towards it.
Okay. And one other question I had for the blue, for the money that you collect, where does that money go?
Great question. When you read The High Cost of Free Parking by Donald Shoup, who's considered the czar of municipal parking around the country, they always say that's the biggest miss for every city is, $1 an hour. I can tell you, I get very few complaints about cost.
Right.
We know it's about technology, and I want to tell you about the permits that they're going to come out in the next probably 60 to 90 days. We get very few actual complaints about the price, because if we're talking about 60 cents, 70 cents, it's technology, or can we have the old meters back? We'll get a lot of that. But this is a very important point for our city residents, and this is what I want to make sure everybody understands. We asked this question in the survey, and it was 88% to 12. Here's the scenario. I think we all agree that our downtown is growing, and we need additional parking availability, right? The reason we started charging was because what was happening was people were parking on Palafox for 12 hours after 5 o'clock. So every busboy, every waiter or waitress would park right in front of their restaurant and never leave. And how we know that is because when those same 5,000 people were polled, we said, what's your biggest gripe about parking? Wasn't cost, even though a lot of them were paying $5 and $6 an hour, thought it was us. It was availability of spaces. That was the number one complaint, availability of spaces. Then we said, okay, if you can't find spaces, tell us, when can you not find spaces downtown? What was the answer? Friday and Saturday night. What did we charge Friday and Saturday night? Nothing. And it's so because people were squatting, employees that were squatting in these spaces, so now everybody's frustrated because they can't find a space. So the whole idea around the basis of Donald Shoup's argument is to create churn. It's not to be financially invasive. It's to say, well, if you don't charge something, then people will just squat in those spaces forever. So we were doing what I believe to be kind of the purgatory dilemma, which was we were charging, we're making you take your app out. Before I got here, but we weren't charging enough money to ever come back to you and say, here's what you're getting for your parking revenue.
Right.
So we were creating, when I got here, we were creating enough revenue, the same amount of revenue as one private lot, the entire city. So I couldn't come back to you and bond dollars for a parking garage. I couldn't do anything. There wasn't enough revenue to do it. So either we shouldn't charge at all, or we should charge enough to be able to churn the spaces. So what are we going to do with the dollars? So this is the question I asked. Let's assume that we're due for a parking garage, which now the going rate for a parking garage is somewhere between $30,000 and $42,000 a space. West Florida just paid $26 million for a parking garage. Okay, so we're all city residents here, I'm going to assume. So here are my two choices as your mayor. I can either pretend it's not a problem, hand it to the next mayor, do whatever, pull out and then that mayor or me, 5 years from now, we pull out our pocket liners and say, ooh, man, it's time for a parking garage. Now we don't have any money. Why don't I bond it on the backs of the 55,000 people who live here? Whether they use downtown or not. maybe they use it, maybe they don't. Or my other option is the user fee option, which is I don't care where you live, where you come from. If you're using downtown, you pay. And if you live in the city and you never come downtown, you don't pay.
Right.
So here's what we found out in the first 6 months of all of this overhaul. Here's what we found out. About 80% of the revenue coming in from parking is from people who do not live in the city. About 76% of the users are, and about 79% of the transactions. So whether you measure money, whether you measure sessions, or whether you measure actual users, all of those metrics were 75% or more people who do not pay taxes in the city. So I get beat up over it, and I totally understand the misperception of it, but I do seek solace in the fact that when it's time for that parking garage, which is quickly coming on us right now, or any of those major capital expenses, we now are being able to collect revenue from people in Kentucky, in New York, in Miami, and not from just the city residents who live here. So I know it sounds weird to say, hey, I'm trying to do this to defend this, but I represent the city of Pensacola, and I represent the city of Pensacola residents. And I don't think it's fair to say, we're just going to make parking free, and when it's time to fix the roads, when it's time to put in cameras, when it's time to pay for all those things, sorry, I'm just going to put it on the backs of the citizens. I'm just not going to do that. And if I got to get beat up over it some, I'll just get beat over it some, because I think it's the right thing to do.
Nancy is going to pay for your free trolley.
Right. Yeah.
So do you know where other parking is that the outsiders don't know? You got that inside knowledge. You can
Stay
park
away
there
from the red.
And hop on the trolley, and they're paying for you to do that, just as a.
Thank you.
And we spent about $300,000 in the Jefferson garage, all new cameras, all new lighting. That was in rough shape when we got there. But again, now we have enough of a substantive revenue stream that if we want to take on a large project, and again, we're looking at a parking garage kind of behind the Holiday Inn there. So for when you go to Seafood Fest and Arts Fest, so you don't have to park in a red lot. To help support our port, where we got a growing port. That's a great location. We control that property. So our front and center first look at a parking garage would be kind of south of Holiday Inn right there. Kind of next to the old New World Landing.
Okay.
All that surface, by the way, all of that is completely free 24 hours a day right now if you park there. But that's our goal long term. And now we actually have the revenue stream coming from 80% outside the city to help us fund and support it.
Okay.
I would just add, anytime you can go on parkpensacola.com, and there's an interactive parking map, so if you're specifically looking for free parking, you can punch, show me where all the free parking is, and it will show you where all the free parking is. It also has where the money goes, and you can touch on that, and it gives you a complete list of everything we've already spent parking revenue on and all the projects that we have planned.
Perfect. Thank you.
Yep.
Thank you.
Sam Matthews?
Parkpensacola.com on the internet.
Come on down, Sam.
Yes, ma'am. Golden oldie. Not me, the project. Mayor, I don't know if you remember this. You met me in a Panora bread thing. Yep. And my first question was, during the past few administrations, it seemed like Pensacola stopped at Garden Street, and you assured me it wouldn't under your watch because your grandmother lived on Reynosa.
She does.
I know.
Girlfriend.
Good. Yeah. So in 2018, we put together a proposal, and I have these handy dandy.
Thank you, because I've been screaming this, and I'd like you to give one to Amy at the end of the table, please. What he's bringing is the desire. What this is it formally said that there needed to be connection of from schools to parks and home safe of sidewalks. And we have neglected to fully sidewalk coming from Scenic Heights. So like your kids are leaving there. They're going down, if you go straight down San Gabriel, then you are having the kids forced into the street at the same place. You guys know this as well with your grands that you had there, that you have kids forced into the street in the same location where all the parents are trying to pull up and pretend their kids are walkers. So they're doing all these U-turns there, right where we've dumped the children into the street. So we've been looking to make those connections, and somehow or another it was on the top of the list, and it was supposed to be done. I'm sorry that I'm overtaking this for you, but I'm very frustrated because we have been looking at this for so long.
And
Yes.
to make a point, I looked up the current school transportation rule. If you live under a mile away from an elementary school, you don't get bused.
Right.
First graders, second graders, third graders walking down same
Pre-K
thing.
and
Pre-K, yeah, hopefully, anyway. But we did a good job on this because we did the work for the Public Works. We got out
And it
there.
got approved.
And it got approved. And I will say one thing, Firestone has a beautiful sidewalk from the last administration. We just need a piece or part of that. And I know it's expensive, and the prices have gone up. I mean, this is laughable, what we budgeted in 2018.
In all honesty, the frustration is that we came in through the middle of the parks, and we put all these sidewalks in the middle of the parks, and had we just taken that portion out of Belvedere that went in the middle of that park, it would make that one connection that we have been dying to get.
Yeah.
And it is frustrating.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think I need to convince anybody sitting up there of the value of this. I just think we need to convince us of the safety for these kids.
Yes.
Well, before we jump into any more city conclusions, let's let Amy answer that question.
Sure. And I think this subject was broached about 2 years ago when we were last here. And it goes along with the same plan that we've been following since 2019, which is our sidewalk prioritization plan. And I get your frustration, but we have this plan, and it takes into account those school distances from the schools, but it also takes into a lot of other factors. So that's the plan we've had, and we've been picking away at. Firestone was higher on that plan. And
What priority put Firestone higher than these kids?
because of the different factors that when we go into that.
Okay, what were they?
And so I'll have to go back and look. I'm sorry, I don't have all the data right now, and I don't have the sidewalk prioritization plan at my fingertips right now. But that's what we had discussed 2 years ago, and those are the things that, we try to pick away at, in terms of, that's why we do these studies. And, I understand your frustration, but if we jump one over another, then somebody else is going to get put down on that plan, and then we're saying that they're not as high on that list either.
I think the frustration is that this one got jumped. It was high on the list. That's what we keep saying. I mean, this one got jumped.
Well, what I'll tell you is there's been zero guidance from me, or I don't ever remember one email, or again, we might be presuming something. I'm not sure. What I can tell you is, and Amy can tell you, there's never been one conversation about anything jumping anything in a list. We haven't touched that list as far as I know since I've been here. So I can't. Firestone was in the works before I got here. So I can't answer your Firestone question. I'm not assuming anything didn't happen. But all I'm telling you is we've allowed our sidewalk prioritization list to work exactly as it goes. So any presumption that we're willy-nilly jumping lists has certainly never gotten to my desk.
I would
answer
find it interesting to know what priority put Firestone, which doesn't connect anybody to a school directly or a park, took priority over this. You got my email. I'd love to see the priority that pushed that up the list. Is that okay?
I will go back and get the information, and I'll give it back to you.
Because
I just don't have it right off the top of my head.
This is
because
cutting
there's
pretty
hundreds
close.
and hundreds of sidewalk areas
To
that are on the list.
income in a neighborhood and such.
It has been a priority, and I keep pushing it and requesting it, thinking,
If we
on
live-
that priority list, there is a second sidewalk on the opposite side of the street on Swan.
Yeah.
Or Cherry World that shows before this one gets connected.
So
It's frustrating.
So when the geographic is correlated with income, it's an interesting picture.
All right, Bill Spain. You just have a birthday? Was that recent, Bill? I see that on Facebook. You can't hear me.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. We're so grateful for you and Councilwoman for giving us a chance to be proactive. You mentioned the word proactive. Commissioner Ashburger, thank you for being here. I mentioned to her that you mentioned it was paradise. It truly is. 800 people a week, I think, it's a month, 800 people a month moving into Escambia County, and each one of the Escambia County districts has more citizens than the entire city of Pensacola. So have county commission and city council and mayor corporation is huge. Thank you for that.
Thank you, and she's very, very supportive with it.
Amen. We're just so grateful for interaction and everybody working together. Every year, Gary Watson, one of our prominent realtors, puts together a group of guys, and we go to the City of Mobile prayer breakfast. And Sandy Stimskin has done, he's a spectacular leader in Mobile. Unprecedented race relations improvement, unprecedented economic improvement. Austell, billions of dollars, not just for aluminum ships, but now for steel ships. The incredible steel mill over there, $1 billion improvement. We've got Airbus. We're enjoying the Airbus spillover here in Pensacola. Thank you for that. Downtown airport, the new I-10 bridge, $1 billion project. The Civic Center, $1 billion project. And so we asked Sandy Stimson, what is your secret? And he says, I have a group of people praying for me, and we have God's favor. And I think all the citizens of Pensacola that love this town like I do want that too. So I'm here to ask you, to ask us to be intercessory prayer warriors for you and our first responders, our city employees. And we need to protect you and lift you up and help you. We need to be proactive in this together. So what Sandy Simpson did, he had a group of people that pray for him and for his wisdom and leadership and for his effectiveness. And we want that same thing for you. So I talked to Connie Bookman and the YMCA, and I said, what can we do to help the mayor help us be better and better? And she says, well, consider praying for him on Saturday. Well, okay, I'm here to hope to ask you to make that official. I would like for you to copy Mayor Stimskin, and on the city website, I want you to put the issues, the main issues in one column that you're continuing with and you're facing to make our city bigger and better and more paradise. On the other column, put down what you've accomplished, because we want to ask God for his favor for your new decisions and thank him for what he's done for us in the past. So all I'm asking is that we engage the word you mentioned earlier, proactive. We're citizens. We owe this community. We owe you protection. We owe you support, and we want to do that. It's wrong for us to feel just like we're entitled. You do all the work. We'll sit back and complain, and we'll sit back and enjoy it. That's no good. We are citizens. We have to be proactive, and we want you to take advantage of that and use the website to list what you are facing, what you're up against, and then what we have to be thankful for, and let us help you push this community forward. Pure and simple.
Well, you got impeccable timing. We need a few prayers this week. I think all of us do with everything going on. So,
well, anyway, I mean, a lot of folks excited about the issue of church and state. Yes. America does not have a federal religion. That's what it's all about. But Sandy Stimson has found a way to get past that if that's an issue. So we can ask him how he does it, how he uses the website to get us interested and go into the website and say, hey, we're citizens. We want to help our first responders. We want to help our government officials be stronger and healthier. Pure and simple. And one of the big issues that your mother mentioned, she said, when you went to one of your meetings, when you were first mayor, you engaged the man that handled the money for continuum of care with the welfare situation. Outstanding. That's a huge issue. Let us pray for that and help give the people who are handling those dollars for the people, the homeless people that can be helped, to make it effective. So I'm just saying that I'm sure I'm one of thousands of people who want to be proactive and help and say thank you to you and our community and make this place a better place. So, thank you.
Thank you, Bill.
Yeah,
you always do.
Yeah.
So thank you.
And I'm serious as a heart attack.
Thanks, Bill.
I brought my book for help, and the book says citizens are supposed to pray for and support their officials, and that's our job. So make it official. On Saturday, ask on the website, and in any way you can, ask the public for prayer support.
Thanks, Bill. All right, Jack Kierholzer.
Come on down.
And, Mr. Brock, close your ears for a minute. Those boxes you get, we're on the Amazon buying program, and my wife has a little burn pit.
Oh, Lord.
Just saying, cardboard and paper takes up a lot of room.
To see the deputy fire chief sitting at the other end of the table.
I asked him to close his ears for a minute. All right, I'll try to make this brief. I had two quick issues. Let's see. I know y'all like paperwork. I'll give one of these to you. I'm only signed up for 2 text alerts through the city. One of them is called sanitation. The other one is called sanitation something, 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 something. And what I gave you was the texts I've received in the last 2 months. And not once did it mention the new schedule. Now, I did get an alert about Memorial Day getting pushed. I got an alert about Juneteenth getting pushed. And I got an alert about July 4th getting pushed. It's an opportunity. So I would just suggest maybe after Memorial Day, you could have sent out a text message to those of us who asked and said, hey, starting in the middle of July, you're going to go to a different day, 1 day a week. And then a week ahead of time, the reminder, hey, next week, new schedule. And so just saying there's an opportunity there because I like the alerts.
Yeah.
That helps me.
Yeah, good idea. Thank you.
And also Pensacola 311 app is great. I use it whenever I see a pothole. Parks and Rec, you guys have been great. I took a picture of a gazebo with some rotten wood. Somebody texted me back or tried to call me a few minutes later and said, where exactly are you? And I told them. So that was really good. So the next one is a little awkward for me because I consider myself, I'll let you spread these out. It's an article that was on a national website calling attention to Pensacola because the Sanger Theater is hosting a drag show at Christmas. And my understanding is the Sanger is city owned, and maybe we have some way that we can just push that a month or two so it's outside of Winterfest. Now, I am Christian, and that's not what this is about. What this is really about is the optics of in the middle of Winterfest when the city of Pensacola is attracting families for wholesome entertainment downtown. You got Santa Claus, you know, you got the Grinch, you got all that stuff going on. I just don't think this is a good look for the city. So I would like to ask that if there's any way the city can kind of push this. I mean, really, to me, it belongs in a privately owned venue, but, you know, freedom of speech, I get that, and I'm friendly in the community, too. So I have a lot of friends that probably, you know, maybe I'm kind of in the middle on this issue. It's a little awkward for me, but I just wanted to bring it to your attention.
Well, yeah, look, thanks for bringing anything to our attention. Yeah, I wasn't aware of that till I got tagged on this like an hour ago. And just let me be clear, this is in the same with the county for Commissioner Hopperger back there at anything at the Bay Center. We have, yes, it's city-owned facility, absolutely. They don't have to approve, I mean, under the standard format, they are the operator, right? They book the bands, the movies, the whatever. There's no, I just want to be clear, there's no check or approval that happens and never has, you know, under in the 20-something years. They are paid to operate it. That's what they do. Certainly, we'll look into that. I don't keep a close eye on their schedule usually.
I volunteer at
Yeah,
Pensacon. To me, this is something that would be great during Pensacon weekend. So
Yeah.
I just want to throw it out there.
But I think your point, and like you said, stuck in the middle is a good way for us to say it.
Yeah.
You know, there is a free speech element of a public facility as well, and if you start going down the road of saying there's winners and losers at a public facility, there's a double-edged sword. I just want to be clear on that. So certainly, never heard of this till I was tagged in something today, and we'll look into it.
I just want to make sure it was on your radar.
Yep. Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, Laura McKnight.
Come on down, boy.
Hi, I'm Laura McKnight, 4200 Langley Avenue. I've been kind of out of the loop for a little while. I've got a new granddaughter, Maverick, and
Nice.
she's 7
Congrats.
months old, and that's where I was today. But I thank you all for coming out this evening. I did want to hit on a couple of things. First, I second Sam's sidewalk suggestion. I worked with Sam for several years. We've worked on that, and so it's not a new thing. The other thing I wanted to mention very quickly is I've got some issues with our neighborhood parks, and as Sam had mentioned, we want to make sure that the city recognizes that the city doesn't end at Garden Street, and that we've still got parks and things like that need assistance. A team from Scenic Heights went out and checked the water fountains in the parks, and currently the water fountains at Lavallee, Tierra Verde, Belvedere, and Hitzman, the water fountains are not working. The dog
Eastgate.
and East. Oh, okay. I'm sorry.
Just adding.
Didn't get to Eastgate. So we did want to bring those to your attention. And I also wanted to ask about the bathrooms at Hitzman Park. Are those just open for soccer? Or are they supposed to be open for like people who walk in the mornings and have to go?
I'll have Shans if you want to take that, if you'll pass that mic down.
I'll have to check on the hours at the Hitzman restrooms. I think they should be open during that park's hours of operation. But if they're not open, then I will fix that.
Okay.
I can answer these questions.
Okay.
Sherry unlocks them in the morning when she cleans the bathrooms.
And she does a great job.
She does a great job. And then she locks them at night when she comes to check everything back up. I think you can verify that also because you've got the soccer prez behind you there.
Okay.
So those bathrooms are open
Okay.
during the day.
Okay. Well, we've
For
been up
sure.
there early in the morning and they haven't been.
So you've
that's
just gotten there before her probably.
Okay.
But she definitely, if you see her there, her car there, she's unlocking and cleaning at that time, and then she comes back in the afternoon. Soccer is kindly this past year come on board and started paying for the cleaning on the weekends when the soccer gets so crazy. So they've added cleaners to the bathroom as well. All the water features. So we have within our parks, we've got 2 misters, and the only park we have where water works is Hitzman. So the others are all off or in trouble.
Well, and
dangerous.
Hitzman, I hit that one coming around the back corner of the loop there, and it was not working the other day too.
I haven't checked that one recently, so I apologize. I will check that one. But all of them are on the Project 2025, and so all of them were identified multiple years ago for needing to be repaired and replaced. And it is the rollover money, $1.7 million from the 2023 budget is set aside for those kinds of things. So that should be rolling out, Mayor.
And I gave an update today on, I think, kind of a 6-month update on Direction 25, which was, again, when you combine grant funding, all of these different mechanisms. Fricker Center got grant funded for about $10 million. It is about $21.7 million in total, and she's referring to $1.7 million that we had set aside, the council had set aside for us to be able to do all these little things, again, where, we want you to assume that a water fountain works when you go to your park, and we want those things. And growing up here, I never assumed that they worked, just generationally. So
right.
you kind of like, I'll hit this button, but I don't think it's going to work. So it's just trying to change the narrative of that, and we had set aside funding exactly to do that. So we gave updates on, I don't have my list in front of me from the notes this morning, but I gave the media about 6 or 7 updates that have happened in the last 6 months. Not all in District 1, but I just mean some of those. And Chans, again, if you want to maybe pass that down, maybe give an update or anything particular in this park that maybe has either already happened in one, if you've got it divided like that, or on the way.
We don't have anything in our park that's done.
Well,
It's been done.
we've been Roger Scott Athletic Complex was done. Press box and all those fields being redone. Okay, sorry. The park amenities improvements right now is scheduled for fall, winter of 2025. And it's renovating 22 basketball courts and replacing 22 drinking fountains. So
Misters hopefully are on there.
they're included as part of the drinking fountains.
And for us, we've got Eastgate and Belvedere basketball courts. And then, of course, since Gull Point used to be one in our district but has gotten moved out, Gulf Point is also on the list for being redone, the basketball courts.
And
Those
the
will be
sign,
first, all three of those will be the first in my life.
and the sign at Belvedere is also broken still.
Still, I asked about that, I actually reported that again last week.
The park
Okay.
sign?
So
Yes.
and they said it was in a long time ago and have never replaced it. And there should also be new park rule signs rolling out very shortly, hopefully.
Okay. Okay, great. And then the other question I had, there were a couple of things. There was a Langley drainage project.
Yeah, Amy can give an update
and then,
on that.
And then the Bay Bluffs Park updates. And
Yeah,
those were the only other questions I had. Thank you.
I wasn't texting while you were intro, and I was pulling up my Bay Bluffs update as of June 23rd. Our biggest weight on Bay Bluffs Park, $2.2 million that we got in the budget, and thank goodness we did, because this year we got nothing. You know, the Tallahassee's crazy this year, and it's going to be crazy again next year. I shouldn't expect anything legislatively to be coming through. So we did have a big year 2 years ago between Baptist, Bay Bluffs Park, and again, a huge thank you to Senator Broxton for helping make that happen. So we've been we've been mired in a three-part, if two governments take a long time, three governments take a really long time. So we've, frankly, this entire time, so, going on a year and a half, been waiting on FDEP to release the funds. So as of June 23rd, so maybe 3 weeks ago, we finally got it says attached is my email, long-awaited contract from Conservation Florida. The FDEP contract requires that the city dedicate the land in perpetuity, which we'd already agreed to do, but in writing. So we have been waiting because the reason we got the 2.2 million is we partnered with Conservation Florida, and I assured, it's something Councilwoman Brahier and I talked about at length at that time, to say, I heard I heard I was going to build condos on the bluffs. I don't know, that'd be a lot of foundational work, I think, but, and so I said, not only are we not going to do that, I'm willing to make sure that no mayor ever can do that, ever. And so we partnered with Conservation Florida, which means all of the Bay Bluffs Park and there's sections going all the way up to Chimney that are going to remain in the public realm forever. And part of that is what helped us get the 2.2 million, partnering with Conservation Florida. So because we were going to do that, and we can use that money to put in native or primitive trails, all that. You guys have heard me talk about maintenance. I'm not trying to sign us up for something big and that we're going to have to fix it again in 5 years. So, but here's what I can assure you of. You will be hearing in the coming weeks about how public engagement will work on what we want that to be. You're not going to see a truck out there and we're going to be building something. We waited long enough. We get asked about it, deservingly so, very, very often. Between Parks and Rec, my office, all of that, finally that we got over this hurdle where now the funding might be available that we could actually use. We just didn't want to have meetings. Imagine if we had a meeting a year ago, then I'd be asked, oh my gosh, why is the mayor taking so long? Well, we don't even have the money available to us yet. So thank you for your patience on that. I mean, I want that done. There isn't a citizen that wants that done faster than me. I can guarantee you. So, but you should fully expect your district, all these districts that converge and use this very often, will have an opportunity to share their thoughts, hear from designers on what it's going to be. It's not going to be a Taj Mahal. It's not going to be a big ornate thing, but it will be going back in the public realm and being able to create value for you guys and kids and grandkids. So that's where we are as we sit here today on Bay Bluffs.
And when you're thinking about that before the public engagement starts, I just want to, just so that you're fully aware of the way this kind of thing works. But when we build lots of steps down and up, then any injury the city is liable for. When you preserve nature in its natural way, then you don't have that same kind of liability. And I'm just saying this, I learned this from the woman who's in over all the waterfalls in Asheville, North Carolina, is that when you leave them primitive, then they can be used forever without that kind of threat to a city that may shut them down in the future. So this destructive way that it is right now, that is a huge liability. And we have to rethink that moving forward so that we do have something that is sustainable and that we can maintain. Because you guys have all seen throughout the years that we build things and then don't even have budgets to repair them. that's a change that we're looking to, is trying to build in budgets with repair when we look to fix something. So think of it, real honesty, not just like your wish list, but what really works for the people and to keep it in its natural state going forward, just as a thought process.
Certainly, Councilwoman Brahier and I don't agree on everything, but I will tell you, in a matter of an hour, I'd gotten off my first phone call with Conservation Florida being like, man, it would be cool if we could preserve this. And then Councilwoman Brahier, not knowing that at all, calls me and she's like, why don't we figure out a way that we can conserve this forever? So you knew it was kind of like one of those fate things that she didn't know what I was doing and I didn't know what she was thinking, but it was just this idea that kind of converged together to say, which is, that we have this opportunity to ensure, even while we wait to get something to get it reactivated, the cool part is it will be in the state that it's in, not the broken state when it's fixed forever. So, and then lastly, Langley. What's that?
Some of the folks back were praying for you.
Yeah, thank you. Langley drainage, we'll get that, and then we'll go to the next one.
Sure. I'm happy to say that project is under design. It's currently under design. If you've heard me talk before about the plan for public works capital improvement projects for stormwater, where we've been focusing the past couple of years has been our outfalls. And so this was one of the outfall areas that we found that was really needed to be upsized and be able to get some more of the water out of the area. We've been able to leverage grants. So we've been able to monopolize on that, and we're going to be able to do more with the help of the grant process by leveraging the dollars that we had programmed for our stormwater capital project. So what that means for you all is being able to get that design and construction closer to Langley, not closer to Langley, closer to Spanish Trail. So being able to upsize those stormwater pipes or adding the different trunk line to help with the stormwater flood relief. So where we are now, as of right now, the design should be complete next summer, July, around summer 2026, and then construction, we have the construction dollars, will be starting fall of 2026. So very excited about that one. I know that's a big one that we've all been waiting for. And
What's the cost estimate on that?
Oh my goodness.
$7 million?
It was several million. I think we have programmed in our capital improvement projects and planned 3 or 4 million, and then I think we got like another 3 or 4 million from the grants out of that. So it's a hefty project, very proud, and that's going to allow us then to branch out to Spanish Trail in the future and some of these other areas to then take care of the infrastructure in those areas as well. So it's a really good first step, and looking forward to getting that project finished with the design and get that construction going.
And this is one where, I'm very data driven, so I don't like saying hyperbole that it's the biggest or the best or whatever without really knowing it. But one thing I can safely say right now is that there's never been more stormwater under plan and under construction from a dollar value in this city, in the history of the city, than what's happening right now, between $41 million at Hollis T. Williams, $7 or $8 million on Langley. If you've been down to 9th and Bayfront, that's a multi-million-dollar stormwater. Joe Patty's right now, multi-million-dollar stormwater affecting 1,700 homes. We only 21,000 homes in the city. 1,700 in one project are going to have positive stormwater impact. So, and more on the plan. So, I mean, we're talking tens of millions of dollars all at once, either in different phases, that are helping try to handle all of this stormwater. And of course, no closer than here have we seen the negative impacts of that. We're just right across the street, and as that symbol of how bad 2014 was. So, so certainly excited for that. Marla, is it Marla Backus?
Welcome, Marla.
Couple things. The ECUA or the trash, okay? I won't go over that, but I got in the mail the schedule, like if there's holidays and stuff like that, at the bottom, and I talked to my neighbors because they said, well, I don't know why they moved our trash day. I don't know what day it is. And I said, it says right on the bottom. Our trash day got moved to Thursday.
I love you.
So, thank you. I don't know what the issue was. The first week, the first week, the 14th, that was confusing because I thought, okay, well, I'm gonna put it out on Monday just in case, you know, because it said after the 14th. Well, I just wasn't sure. But in rereading it a couple times and talking to the neighbors, it said Thursday, so I don't know what the problem was. But anyway, that to me was no issue. Now today, the trash trucks came around and it's Tuesday. It's like, okay, well, what's
We're all
going
hands on deck right now, so you're going to see them. You might see them every day. Yeah, in the next few
It
days.
begins with a T, but you know.
No, ma'am, that's exactly what we talked about, to where I've got supervisors looking. I mean, my team's doing a great job. The men and women in sanitation, like the mayor said, they're working 7 days a week.
Yeah.
They'll be working tomorrow. Saturday, they're doing a mayor's cleanup. They do a great job, and I have them looking. If we see a cluster of cans, we're going to be there. Wrong day or not, we're still coming.
I figured there had to be a reason, and y'all explained it earlier in the meeting. But you know, I know our day is now Thursday. The sidewalks, because I live on San Gabriel, and the sidewalks to Scenic Heights Elementary, kids are walking in the street up on Hilltop. There's a section of San Gabriel where the sidewalk just stops. And it's like the second house from the end there where it comes into Cherry Laurel, there's no sidewalk, and it doesn't make sense. And Mayor Hayward, when he was mayor, he promised that every city street in Pensacola was going to have sidewalks. Great. I remembered that because I was thinking, hey, this is, yeah, well, how come all the money in that roundabout, we could have had sidewalks. We could have had sidewalks. You could have put 4 stop signs up. That's a neighborhood gripe. But anyway, there's flooding still going on at Cherry Laurel and San Gabriel. Horrible. It goes up people's front yards. I mean, you can see the tide line. And I know you all put in 2 other sewers to help, but it needs more help somewhere down the road. I don't know, maybe further up on Cherry Laurel, or I don't know. So y'all have to figure that one out. But it's not, I mean, it's ridiculous.
It is.
And I mean, when I saw the tide line, and I call it that, halfway up on people's property, I wasn't in that section. I'm a little higher, but it makes you think: do I need flood insurance? You know. And recycle. Are you going to continue with the bins on Summit?
Yes, yeah, those are set. Yeah.
That's going to be a permanent thing? Okay, because we can take our glass there then.
There may not be I don't remember exactly the number of bins. Obviously, I know at some point we increased them when we didn't have curbside. So we're going to obviously keep an eye on volume. I mean, we'll have the appropriate number of bins. So I don't want anybody to say, well, you said you'd keep them and now there's 2 instead of 3. What we're saying is that will remain open in perpetuity. The thing that we're going to assess is we've been doing as kind of a Band-Aid, we were doing a drop-off on North Palafox that was assisted, and people loved it and all that. It wasn't huge volumes, but at least it gave somebody somewhere to go to take, not just here. And so I could see a scenario where we would wind that down, mainly because it's so labor-intensive. I mean, we got to have a bunch of people out there on a Saturday. Yeah. So but we're not going to rush that until we get everybody signed up and all that kind of stuff. We're not trying to just close it right away.
Okay.
But this will remain in perpetuity here.
Okay, because I had read somewhere, I don't know if it was in the paper or online, that until you get 5,000 people signed up, those bins were going to stay there, but then afterwards, they'll disappear. So I don't know. And when you all were talking about glass, I thought, well, okay, I can still take my glass there.
That's news to me. Yeah, so it's probably the same people saying I'm building condos on Bay Bluffs Park. But But no, I'm not aware of any number. Daryl, correct me. We have never mandated that if we get to X number. I think we had Summit before. I don't know why we wouldn't continue to have Summit. You know, some people might want to recycle a little bit and not want to pay every week. So,
Yeah.
I mean, there's nothing that's come across my desk nor a mandate from me, from my office, that we would ever. I think we're going to leave that as is in perpetuity.
Yeah.
So.
Yes, sir. I mean, that's packed 7 days a week. That's why we dump it every day of the week because we see so much activity. Matter of fact, we even got a living room suit the other day.
There are stupid people in this world. I saw a car hood propped up there.
Yes, ma'am.
And I mean, granted, it's metal, but I mean, come on, but anyway, and then the only other thing I gripe about is downtown. It just seems like all the money is going into Palafox Street downtown. And I know I'm old. I don't partake in the downtown crowd. But it's like, how many times can Palafox Street be reinvented? You know, I mean, you have the streets going this way, then you have it going this way, then you have it going this way. And now I saw a drawing of what's going to be done. And I'm thinking, how much money's there going into downtown? And where's our sidewalks? Yeah. Why are the kids walking in the street?
Yeah, let me clarify that. I would say probably if I were to go across every department, every initiative, every expense, the biggest misperception that I deal with in my life is the idea that if you read about a project in the paper and it costs X million dollars, that is fully transferable to any other project. So just to give an example, there is a $1 allocated. It is not finalized. The allocation's not finalized. But under our proposal, we're waiting on a price. It may be too expensive. We don't do Palafox at all. We got to get a RFP back. But $3 million of that is coming from FPL because they cut up the road. When you drive down there, all those utility cuts.
Yeah.
Well, I can't take that and help the homeless. I can't take that and go to Langley. I can't take that. That is earmarked for that project. The conversation we just had as a CRA board last week about $4.4 million. That is urban core CRA money. It has to be spent. Basically south of Cervantes, you got to look at the map. But it is illegal for us to spend 1 cent of that, not in that CRA, because it's collected in that CRA. So I'm just using, and there's many, many, many examples of that. I mean, I get dinged on any project that we name. We could have it fully grant funded, not even coming from the fund, and someone will say, well, why didn't you spend that on something else? Well, because we got a grant for it. I mean, that's why we got the money. So I just I don't ask everybody to study financial stacking of the city, and that's an unfair expectation. But I would just always say, every time you see that or read about that, hopefully just remember this, that I would not presume. General fund dollars are very precious, and much of that goes to the folks to my right and to salaries. That's the most flexible dollars we have. Once you go outside of that, there's lots of local option sales tax can only be spent on certain things. So CRA dollars can only be spent in certain areas. So just don't assume that when you see a large dollar amount that means that is completely transferable to another project, because 99% of the time it is not.
Well, then there's a lot of misinformation that's being either printed or given over the airwaves because I look at it that there's a lot of robbing Peter to pay Paul, and it's to pay Paul downtown, where for other areas on the west side of the city, the parks or the kids and things like that, they're not getting what they deserve, and it's not fair.
Well, I'll say this. The good news is there's never been more dollars invested in the census tracts of the west side of our city than in the history of the city of Pensacola than that's happening right now. Baptist Hospital, $9.5 million at Fricker Center. We saved the Gibson School from being demolished. That will be another project. We earned 2 $5 million commercial revitalization grants, one at Baptist, one at Brownsville. We could have put those. They had to be in certain areas. So when you add all of that up, that area that you're talking about has never seen more investment combined by the city at any given time, and it's all going to happen in the next 24 months. So I just want to be clear on the facts that there is a significant investment, unprecedented investment happening in the west side of the city.
Well, it'll be interesting to see what happens to those properties. That's all. That's all I'm saying.
Thank you.
on the garbage and recycling, because I see Miss Mary losing her mind every time we talk about we're going to go down the street and pick up your can, whether it's your day or not. That's not going to last forever, right? We've asked you all to give us some grace as we get accustomed to this new process and new system. And so we're giving you all a little bit of grace as you get accustomed to the new process and the new system. But in the very near future, if your can is out on the wrong day, you're going to get probably a hang tag attached to the handle of your can to remind you of what day your correct day is, okay?
All right, we've got three more. I know we're up on time, so but we've got three more. Judy, is it Wingierski? Yeah, Wingierski. On parking. Come on up.
I can combine parking with church.
Okay, perfect.
Okay.
Well, come on up, but don't leave.
Anyway,
Well, don't leave without. I promised to tell you guys about permits and senior permits for city residents for downtown parking, and I forgot to tell you that. So go ahead.
Okay, today I got a parking ticket. I got a parking ticket.
Let me see it first. Let me see if it's actually from us. Okay. All right, that's got our logo. That one is from us. Yeah. Blocking a driveway. All right, go ahead. What do you got?
But if you look at it, that's not really a driveway. That's part of St. Michael's Community Center. That garage door has not been used for a car or anything in God knows how many years. And God would
Man, you haven't been to New Orleans lately. I just was there this weekend. Man, everybody's got a garage door you can't park in front of.
But so it is part of the church's property. I also have my St. Michael's sticker on the back of my car. Why am I getting a ticket?
Well,
And I wonder.
First I've heard of it. We certainly I'll have Amy and Lisa look at it. And listen, of course, we get people questioning that all the time. We have tickets if it's confused. You know, the most common one is they miss a letter in their license plate. And a lot of times now we don't promise we're going to fix it if you've done it 10 times in a month. But, you know, Lisa's a reasonable person. We've got reasonable people. I know it doesn't say that on Facebook, but we are. And if there's an honest mistake or an innocent mistake or something like that, I can never promise, nor would I say, oh, well, then you'll get a free strike. But if we can always look into these things, and we'll either say, hey, this is clear, or it's not.
You also talk about how the city has gotten so much money from parking. How much money have they gotten from parking tickets?
Great question. I'd love that.
I mean,
you've set me up.
Why are they serving?
Yeah, you set me up. So here's the great news. So let's just take June of 2025. So we expanded parking zones and times to midnight on August of 2024. Okay, so that means June of 2024 was the old. It was the 7 p.m. So it was earlier and less spaces. So when you compare the amount of tickets that we wrote in June of 2025 with more hours to enforce and way more spaces to enforce versus 24, we're actually down 6.5% total in tickets that we're writing. So we have more spaces and more hours to enforce, and we're actually down 7%. Because it goes back to the point. We understand grace periods. We don't want to give... trust me, if Lisa has to hear from me one more time about somebody who had a ticket who says it was 1 minute after or whatever, we give grace periods. We're not going to tell you how long it is, but we give grace periods. I promise we do not want to do that. But we have to have some rules or no one will pay.
But I think you also give your employee a schedule, a route. Why in the world you know that St. Michael has service Monday through Friday at 12:10? What's the time on that ticket? 12:39.
Well, the ticket was blocking the driveway. The ticket wasn't going to church. You know,
I know. But I got another one, and because I had a loaner car, so I didn't have my Bazooka sticker on my car. The church got me out of that one. But I have another question.
And I think we've worked very well with the church. I think we've worked, well, I wouldn't say that. We have conceded. We understand that they have service. We want them to be successful. We've had many conversations with St. Michael's about trying to accommodate them.
You might keep the parking gurus away from the church for an hour, from 12 o'clock to 1 o'clock. Okay. You know, some of these people are you make more of your money from out-of-towners. Right. You show some, churches north don't have a parking thing. My other question for you would be, you were talking about, it had to do with parking again.
Was it permits?
Well, why charge $10 a month for seniors? I saw that.
$10 a month for seniors to park anywhere you want, 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. is,
They're talking about paying $8 for a trash can. I think that's
well,
unfair.
what I'm saying is you get the decision. If you never come downtown, I wouldn't pay $10. But you know why? We actually are losing money. The city net, that will be an expense to the city because we have to administer those permits, meaning we pay per user, per permit on software on the back end. So we're making it as affordable as we can. Quite literally, it costs the city money to offer that, but I think it's the right thing to do. And because, what did I tell you before? I think our largest complaint isn't $1 an hour. I think our largest complaint is a technology delta. And certainly, so all city seniors, we're starting with one car to make sure that it's not all inundated, one car per household. But if you are over 65 and you live in the city, not offered to county, not to Gulf Breeze, if you live in the city, you can pay $10 a month and you can park in any parking spot you want. City parking spot you want.
Gotcha.
And even better, you don't even have to get your phone out. It'll be on your license plate. You'll pull up like you're pulling into your driveway. Just don't block a driveway.
I was at a hotel.
Includes
and
the garage.
They said you had to use your phone to pay for parking. And I said, well, what if I didn't have a phone? And she said, don't worry, they don't tow cars.
No.
But I guess my other question is back when Halifax, you had your 2-hour parking, and you talked about people who were in that spot for 10 hours. Why weren't they ticketed? Why weren't they towed? Why didn't they get the Denver boot?
Because they came and yelled at me at a town hall, and then we got shamed. No, 2 hours, very, very hard to enforce. Cities, we couldn't even find a city that's put in 2-hour parking in the last 30 years. I mean, maybe there's an outlier because
You could have changed the sign to 6 hours, and you still probably could have ticketed a bunch
2 hours.
of cars.
The problem with 2-hour parking is what was happening was employees were parking in front of their place, and then it actually reads in the code. You can't move. People be like, well, what if I pull out of the car and go to the next space and pull out of the car and go to the next space? And so 2 hours kind of tough. We put in 20, 30-minute spaces. If you're not aware, if you pull in like you're going to the Jefferson garage, but instead you go right, those surface spaces, those are all 30-minute free spaces, 30-minute. And so 30-minute is go get your coffee, go get your jewelry, go get whatever. And so we feel like 30-minute is, hey, you're picking up, dropping off, grabbing a delivery type of thing. 2 hours, so hard to enforce. And what was happening is all the employees were parking there, and they were putting us in that bind.
Also, if you got a boot, then it was not a city parking place.
That's right.
We do not do that.
We don't even own a boot. So
When someone says you booted us,
It's
like, we don't have one in the shop. We don't have one in the mayor's office. We don't even own a boot.
Just to
So,
be sure.
and the last, all right, so senior citizen permit, city residents only, 65 and up, will get $10 a month. All you can park, don't even have to get your phone out, like you're parking in your driveway. The second thing we're going to do for city residents is every city resident, every single one, now you'll have to verify, obviously, with a bill or something. I don't even know what the verification is going to be, but some type of power bill like you do with other things.
Maybe your
Garbage bill, yeah. Yes. Councilwoman Brahier saw we were ending. She needed to get one more zinger in. So you'll verify with something, and every single city resident will have 50% off. It'll already be on their app that they're a city resident, so they'll go back to 50 cents and no fee. So it's actually even cheaper than it was because you paid 50 cents an hour plus a fee before I got here. So every city resident, 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, park anywhere you want, you'll automatically get 50% off, and that is not limited to one car. That's going to be anybody with a verification. So you'll go back to actually paying, forget inflation, you'll go back to paying less than you were paying since we ever went to paid parking, and you'll have that available to you at all times. So senior permit and city resident permit. So we're taking care of those first because of the logic I told you before. You guys are the ones helping pay taxes for infrastructure. Someone from Kentucky, someone from Santa Rosa County isn't doing that. So I want them to help us pay for a garage or to fix the road. You guys are already helping us pay for a garage and fix the road. So we're going to handle the city resident permits first to make sure that we honor you guys, and then we'll worry about, we'll do some other permits later, but that are for everybody, but those are going to be the ones for city residents only.
Anything going on with the Young Center after it got demolished?
Yeah, we're in the middle. We're with Habitat for Humanity. We're slated for 12 townhomes that will remain in workforce level AMI affordability forever. It's the first project It will be the first project in the history of Pensacola. Every other affordable housing project that's ever happened at any scale had a timeline on it. It was only going to be affordable for 15 years, and then it can be sold for market rate. This will be the first because we own the dirt, or the land trust will own the dirt. That it'll stay affordable forever. So you can buy it, but then when you sell it, you got to sell it to someone who qualifies for affordability. So that is still full steam ahead. Obviously, it's a big undertaking, stormwater, other things, but still full steam ahead.
Okay.
So thank you
very much.
All right, we just got two more. I know we're over on time, but Melissa McKnight and Josh Hedden are the last two we have. So Melissa.
Everybody's already talked about what I was going to talk about. But I just wanted to put a couple things on your radar as far as stormwater. I live at the back corner of Hitzman Park, and during the whole soccer thing, it had stormwater violations prior to them developing it, and I don't know if those were ever addressed, but that intersection does flood, not halfway into people's yards like you were talking about.
What's the street?
Hibiscus and Potosi.
It comes through the park at that corner.
Yeah, to the back corner of Hitzman Park.
It's the southeast corner of the park.
But it's stemming from the park, not the roadway.
Yes.
It's
Yeah,
the
it already had some flooding prior to them removing, I can't remember how many trees we ended up with removing, but
Over 100.
over 100. It was going to be almost 300, so yay us. But still, it's definitely an issue. It turns into like a waterfront property. To address the messaging on garbage, as far as just to give you some insight into our community, I know this is District 1, but a lot of us are here from Scenic Heights, and we didn't have very good messaging when the soccer field event happened, so I felt a little triggered with that as well, as far as losing one day of garbage, and like with the sidewalk funding, and then having a $968,000 roundabout. It ended up being.
It was a little bit over, I think, 1.2 million.
Yeah, and so that could have been sidewalks. But the one thing I did write down right as Sharon was coming up to talk, and that Paulette brought up, is our neighborhood, I know, is a lot of original owners are still there. And there are a lot of senior citizens that may produce more garbage for health reasons or whatever. So it might be worth looking into some sort of senior discount, or a can. I mean, got to get something as a senior citizen. You put the time in. So I think it's something to look into.
Happy to look into that. Yeah, thank you. All right, Josh, you want to close it out?
I'll be quick. Been waiting on this all night. I got a garbage question for you. All right. You've already mentioned it a few times. First off, Chief, congratulations on your new appointment. Fire department, y'all hold a special place in my heart. You helped me with my daughter a few years back where there was an injury. There in less than 3 minutes. Incredible. Thank you, Jennifer Brahier, our councilwoman in District 1. Thank you. Chance, had the pleasure of meeting you recently. You're the man. Love working with you.
So Josh is the newly elected president of Pensacola Youth Soccer.
Yep.
So.
Yep. So.
If you haven't met him yet.
Yeah. Don't boo too loud. But a few comments have been made. I was going to maybe not ask the question, but since it's come up a few times, it's been said that it was only picked up once, regular garbage picked up once per week. We bought our house in Scenic Heights in 2018. I can tell you my garbage has been picked up twice a week, every week.
Including recycling?
Recycling had its own truck.
Right.
And a garbage truck would come behind and pick up the waste. It was
Yeah, twice a week. Yes. Okay, so we're saying the same thing.
Recycling once, garbage twice. Yeah.
Well, then, man.
100%.
I can. No, I'm not. I'm certainly not going to question what you're telling me that happens outside of your house. What I'm telling you is that you had the world's most gracious, probably too much overtime garbage collector that there was, because then, man, yeah. I promise we won't backbill you for that second.
Yeah, I mean,
yeah.
listen, I mean, it's the fact. I remember I work out of my garage.
Right.
I literally watched the garbage truck pick up my garbage Monday and Thursday. And
Yeah.
you got rid of recycling, and the garbage continued to get picked up on Monday and Thursday.
Yeah.
Every time.
Yeah. Well, this is of all this conversation, all getting beat up on all that, that's the first I've ever heard on any road of any residence where there was 3 pickups a week.
You can go to April Road, Reynosa, Valencia, Limestone, Langley, all of them.
Well, maybe it starts to make more sense that it's more painful then, because everybody else in the city was getting one and one.
That's why I wanted to let you know, because I think the uproar is coming, the miscommunication from what I didn't
And that
see
does make sense.
was, hey, we're going to 1 day a week, and some people say, well, my day changed. Well, my day's still on Thursday for the second day.
Right.
But I think your biggest problem that you're running into is that, at least in our neighborhood, you had 2 times a week picking up garbage in Scenic Heights. It's
Do we have a garbage employee that lives in Scenic Heights?
I don't know. Or somebody that was getting bribed or something. I don't know what was happening. But,
and they're super nice. And quite frankly, since you came on board, they've been doing a way better job of picking up yard waste.
Yeah.
Look, priority, like I said, the team's working great. They work overtime on it. I mean, I can't ask any more.
Yeah.
I mean, we work on 6 days a week. They've been doing
what you're doing is
trying to do the best they can.
Because I can't tell you how many times they pick up a bunch of limbs, and you'd have a third of the pile still there, and it just rots. But whatever. I'm not going to belabor that point. But I'm telling you, I think in the community itself, you're running into some big problems because it was getting picked up twice a week.
Well, I appreciate, and honestly, that's the biggest moment of clarity I've had all day, because I keep running into this discussion where I'm like, well, wait a second, we quite literally for 10 years we're only doing 1 and 1, and people keep saying, well, we're going back to 1 day a week. I'm like, oh, we've only been doing twice a week for 18 months. So if that is the case, that is why there's this big confusion, because it should have never been happening.
Yeah. I
to
agree.
begin with.
I'm with you, because my bill never changed. I was like, well, this is a great deal.
Well, man, I'm sorry, guys.
Yeah.
Honestly, I'm sorry if that is the case. That I understand that a little better now.
To injury, I think the recycling didn't work out the first time, because I think that truck picking up on Mondays was picking up both on some days. Not every time, because they did have a recycling designated truck that would pick up the brown can, and then the other garbage can would come up and pick up on Monday.
Yeah.
Like at the same time. I know this because I literally walked out and moved the brown trash
I'm not questioning you. So I'm trying to piece my thoughts together. Like I'm trying to get my mental
silver lining is I found out today that I can get a new can for $8.
Right.
So I'm accomplishing the same thing on the same day on Thursday.
Exactly.
It's not that big of a deal. I get it. But if you want to make some changes in the communications, I would address the fact that it was getting picked up twice a week, and that shouldn't have ever occurred probably in the beginning.
It 1,000% should have never occurred, and I'm glad y'all got it while you got it. I wasn't there then. I'm just saying.
Yeah, but now it's it's $8. We'll add it Thursday. It's good to go, but hopefully that clarifies something.
All right. Yeah. All right.
And then the trash truck, when it was the recycling, then it was the recycling truck came and the trash.
Right.
One more thing. If anybody has a link to Mr. Bill's shirt, please send it to me. Whatever that Constitution shirt was, I need it.
Hey guys, sorry, I'm also a city resident in Bay Cliff, so I can speak, right? I'm Eric Galston, the Deputy Chief here at Pensacola Police Department. Just want to give you all a little something positive besides gas station or garbage cans. On August 5th, right here at Roger Scott, we're doing the National Night Out. That's for all the youth. We're going to have 45 different vendors set up. So bring your kids and your grandchildren out and do it before school starts. We're going to have a K-9 demonstration, a bunch of different trucks in the community. And there's even a rumor that we might even have a helicopter fly on that day. So come to this event. It's going to be a good one to get the school year started. And that's all.
And I did it last year. It was wonderful.
Yes. So what happens? It's a good event.
Well, thank you guys so much. I say no. Positive, whether you feel like it's something positive or negative, or you come in feeling good or not good about the city. Number one, I always appreciate anybody who's engaged. So thank you for being here, and thank you for caring about the city the way I do, whether we agree on some issue or that we disagree. And again, secondly, please, 311 is your friend. Please use it. You didn't hear me talk about it for a year because we didn't have it figured out. We do have it figured out now, and that will save you guys time and certainly will allow us to handle that better. And thank you to our staff for taking the time out to be here, and I'll pass it off to Councilwoman Brahier.
I am also your friend. Oh, nobody feels like they're out of the loop. Thank you very much. I appreciate it.